Yasu Malagedo. Welcome to the Malaka podcast. The worst job I've ever had. Part 5. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell from the previous podcasts, worst job I've ever had, parts 1 through 4. Things don't always work out the way you want, but I'm just going to get to the point on this one. It's not going to be a very long podcast. I'm not going to strain this out like a lot of people do on their podcasts. I'm going to get simply to the point. I've been doing security for 14 years. And of course, COVID slowed that down a bit. Because there's a lot of places like bars and clubs where you can make extra money, or even events. Maybe some quick cash. It's all good. But when that came to a halt, stopped a lot of us. But now, slowly, in the summer, fall, starting to get back to normal. Slowly but surely. So I'm like, okay, let me just see what's available in Toronto, because Toronto's a beautiful city. It really is. I'm actually very lucky to have grown up here. But at the same time, Friday nights, Saturday nights, maybe even the odd Thursday nights or Sunday nights, people can just act the fool. And they have no idea what the fuck they're doing. They drink too much, smoke too much, sniff too much, and just, they don't know what to do. And on top of that, you got to deal with fellow coworkers who give you so much agita. All you want to do is just walk off the job and leave, which I've done in the past, by the way. I'm not afraid to do that. They say you shouldn't do that in security, but fuck them. I don't care. I was told years ago in security, if you do not feel safe at a workplace, get the fuck out of there. And I've always remembered that. And that's exactly what I do. So, this job here, found on Indeed.ca, which has been very good to me over the years, but it's also been very bad to me. So, you take the good with the bad. It is what it is. You get what you pay for, and the site's free. By the way, for those of you who don't know what Indeed.ca is, it's a site where you put it on your resume, and you basically put on a good face, because you hope that you can find a very good job, something that's suitable to you and your field. And you hope for the best. Me, I do it with security, try to find a whole bunch of jobs, something that'll suit my expertise, but at the same time, I don't have to do a lot of work. Just being honest, that's one of the reasons why I picked security. It's a decent paying job and you don't have to do a lot of work. So if you're lazy like me and you want to make decent pay and you're a big guy or woman, security's for you. But, like I said, not everything works out. So this one job, it's a club downtown. I'm not going to say the name of the club. But how can I put this? Let's say if you had the number 50, and if you subtracted 6, what is the result? Anyways, so I talked to this person via emails, texting. They sound like they're hiring at the moment. They hired me without an interview. Let me repeat that. They hired me without an interview. Never met this person in person. They just said, show up at this time, wearing all black, black shoes, black pants, black shirt. A lot of people would call that passenger 57, but it is what it is. And you go there and you just start work. That's it. There's no interview process. There's no Zoom video, nothing. So at first I was like, this is going to be a great job, where they don't even bother meeting you. You can see they already give a shit about you. So that's always a good sign. I knew it was going to be shit. Of course, right off the bat, you just know. You just have that feeling. But then again, you're like, you know what? You're bored. You know, Friday, Saturday night, nothing else to do. It's Toronto. Why not? Who cares? Let's make some money. So, I show up there the first night. What's really weird is when you go in front of this club, brand new club. I mean, the building's been there for a while. The place has been there for a bit, but they just bought it. They've been running it for what? Maybe a month or two. Whatever. Who cares? I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I've been doing this for almost 14 years. Toronto clubs, I mean, they're basically glorified basements. That's just the sad truth. I mean, the only really good club I ever went to was in Greece, and it translated to the sex. True story. And it was great. You know, it looked like a real club. You know, you watch a movie and kind of looks like a Coliseum type in the sense, you know, it starts off, you know, the little dance floor there. Then, you know, they got all these different levels, and it looked good. You know what I mean? Like, but most of the clubs in Toronto, I don't know. I mean, you know, you guys got to make money. I get it. Whatever. You know, it is what it is. But I don't know. If you don't like a club the way it looks in the dark at midnight, don't stick around when the lights turn on at 3 a.m. because you will not like it. You will find a couch that might have been part of Frank's setup in Scarface in 1983. You know, you're good chance you're watch out for the puke. Okay, that's a big one. Definitely watch out for the puke. That's you know, yeah. And sorry, I was you know, I was picturing the other week there. Yeah, someone. That's one story I'll get out of the way right now. Is when see, that's the worst part, when people can't make it to the sink or toilet, or even like a worst case scenario, like you go into a corner, random corner, whatever. But when you're at the last, you know, steps about to leave the club, and that's when you stop in the middle, put your head down, and just basically blow away, you know, the $33 dinner you just had all over the steps. And of course, you know, it's very forceful, the vomit. You know, it hits the black steps, you know. Again, you're seeing a theme here. And it'll splash all over the place. And, you know, like the only funny part is I was on top of the stairs. So luckily I missed it. And, you know, you see the people leaving the club. And, you know, there's like one row going down, the other row, you know, they just line up in a single file. And I mean, this is the last thing you want to see. Like, a lot of people are so fucked up. Like, they don't give a shit. Like, they step right in it. They don't care. You know, they have no idea. You know, they'll come up to you. This is the best night, buddy. I was like, okay, dickhead. But, you know, like, they just don't give a fuck. So please watch where you puke. I just want to get this out of the way. Anyways, so I'm at this club, you know, and I look around, and I'm the only white guy there. I'm just gonna say it. I mean, I think it's pretty obvious at this point. The owners were black, you know, and again, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. I just assumed, you know, I was told this years ago that every black group of friends, you know, they always had that one white guy. They need, you know, someone to talk to the cops after, you know. I get it. I get it. I've been in that position before. I've worked many gigs where I've been that guy, you know. It's cool. Again, I'm not being racist. It's just the way it is. You know, it makes it legit. You know, I get it. I get it. With my experience, you know, I thought I had a good shot of, you know, maybe doing something else there. You know, maybe more management, but nope. So I, you know, are already like we're waiting for the boss to show up, which by the way, they told me to be there at 9:15, and then the shift starts at 10. I'm like, am I going to be paid for those 45 minutes? He says no. So I go, so why the fuck would I show up at 9:15? You know. Now, here's my theory, okay? Because he said, you know, other people, you know, whatever, show up whenever they want, if you tell them earlier. So I'm like, okay, I get what you're saying. You know, you're saying, I'm really trying to figure out a way to say this and not sound racist. Let's think. Certain people have a bad stereotype of showing up late. Let's just, you know, it happens, you know. So, you know, and it's sad to think that, you know, that everybody would be like that. You know, I heard a story one time that Ludacris, the rapper, he or well, now the actor, I know him as a rapper, Red Light District, Austin. But anyways, they told him one time to show up at a certain time. He did exactly at that time, and then he waited around for 3 hours, and then they needed him. And he said, guys, why the fuck am I here 3 hours ahead when you didn't need me? And they didn't bother lying to him. They said, look, we thought you were going to show up late. You know, we've heard about rappers and all that. And, you know, I'm saying to myself, that's a horrible stereotype. So right off the bat, I mean, like, you hire these people who, keep in mind, like, I mean, you didn't interview me. God only knows how many other people you didn't interview. Okay? So, again, we're off to an awesome start. You know, so now you're already assuming that these people will not even show up, you know, which we're going to get more than that in a little bit. But, you know, way to have faith in your team, guys. Wow. Once again, can't say the club, but 50 minus 6. So, you know, I'm there and I'm like, okay, I don't know. Well, that's bullshit. I actually do know what to expect at this point. So I'm like, okay, you know, as long as I leave alive tonight, it'll be a good night. You know, I don't have to deal with a lot of bullshit. That's good. And again, it was a pretty easy night, that first night. I mean, they wanted us to start at 10. It was some kind of private event on a Wednesday, you know. Nothing even happened till 12. We got paid till 3:30. I wanted to leave at 3 because I thought we were going to get paid till 3. Then he says, okay, we'll make sure you get paid. I'm like, you sure? Yeah. You know, and it was a good little job. I thought to myself, this is not bad, you know. Direct deposit, which is good. The exact amount, no taxes, you know. So, you know, I mean, that's on them, guys. I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, I'm like, okay, that's cool. Why not? And then, I don't know, it was okay. You know, like I said, no major problems that night. Although, well, I mean, there was one guy. You see, again, this is where, you know, you work with different companies and you really realize it really is just about money. Like there's one guy that wanted to keep fighting another guy for some reason, you know. Again, maybe not enough hugs growing up. I don't know. You know, like 3 times. And I told everyone. I told the one manager there. I'm like, listen, like after the first fight, he's out. Like you can't keep this guy in here, right? So then they keep him in there. They say, oh, you know, he knows someone. He knows management. You know, I'm like, oh, okay. This old story, you know. Again, like this is why, going out is not fun anymore because you have assholes like this wanting to start shit, and then you have other assholes who are in charge of this asshole, and they just refuse to acknowledge that, yeah, this person could be a problem and he's affecting other people's good time. But they don't care. Again, it's all about the money. So then at one point, this guy won't quit. He's got that face, you know what I mean, where, like, you can tell he's not letting shit go, but he's chilling out for a bit. You know what I mean? Like, we all know that guy. Has a couple drinks and something happens and, the light switch goes on, or in this case, off. And, and then at one point he takes one of the ice cube scoops, whatever, and I don't know what his mentality was. Like, first of all, he thought like he could maybe stab the other guy with it or hit the other guy with it, I guess. I don't know. I mean, I've seen sporks, I'm pretty sure that would do more damage than this, but I don't know, teach his own. I remember a teacher told me that back in the day that you could literally drown in a cup of coffee. I don't know why I said teacup and coffee. And to be honest with you, I don't know why I'm bringing up this story. But the point is, anything's possible. And then even at the end of the night, he refused to leave, or he goes and then he wants to come back. He said he forgot his wallet or phone or his brain. I don't know what the fuck. But, it's such a pain in the ass. Like, it really is. Like, little things like this will make a huge difference. And after that, I worked the next shift, and, he wanted this one guy to work outside, and I could tell he did not want to work outside. And, I'm thinking of another way where I don't want to sound racist again. How can I put this? Okay. There's certain race, whatever, I don't know how you pluralize it, in this world that don't like the cold, so, as a guy that didn't want to stay inside and deal with this bullshit again, I go to my, one boss here who I just assumed he was the guy in charge. I don't know if he's owner of the company. He spoke in a very low monotone voice, every time you talk to him, he always seems like that relaxed and annoyed at the same time. Like he just sounds like he just got blown, but it wasn't as good as he thought it was going to be. You know what I mean? So I go, you know what? I'll go outside with you. I'll go outside. I'll check the tickets. I don't want to be inside. I don't care. It's all good. He's like, sure? Yeah, sure. Why not? So, we're out there, and, what's a good comparison? I could say 48 hours, but, I don't know, that would imply that he's funny. Judging by some of the comments I just made, maybe I am a little Nick Nolte, but, actually, it's perfect. And I thought about this because I don't want to say the name of the company that did this, who hired, because it's not in-house. It's the club hired the company, and then they got the workers, you know how it is, money. And so I thought of a great movie with Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman, Blank Tide. You fill in the blank. And then I thought of, you know what? We're going to go at it at one point. Not so much physically. I'm white. He's a tall black guy. I'm realistic. But, there's going to be something that happens here. There's going to be some kind of power struggle. You just know it. I'm one of these people I can see 10 steps ahead, And then you got to ask yourself, you're probably asking me, like, if you see 10 steps ahead, why don't you do something about it? And you know what? That's a very good question. First of all, I got to say two things. One, mind your fucking business. And two, I wouldn't have a podcast. So, we're having a good time out there. It's okay, in charge of the guest service list here. Make sure people get inside okay. Everything's good. And then at one point of the shift, he said something to me. And I couldn't believe he said this. I really couldn't believe it. He said to me, and keep in mind, again, no interviews, all this bullshit so far. And he knows my experience, and he knows I'm there to help him. He goes, I need you to do me a favor. And I go, what is it? He asked me, do you mind going inside and getting me some mints? I'm going to repeat that. So here I am, again, doing this for almost 14 years. The way he treats people, I'm sure he just came out of the womb. Either that or he's just, silver spoon baby. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, to me, he looked like a tall version of the black guy from 40-Year-Old Virgin. But again, that's giving him, again, too much credit because, that guy was funny. Love Guru, yeah, whatever. But I'm thinking to myself, like, in my head, I'm like there was a pause, and I'm like, seriously? Like in my head. I didn't say that to him, because I don't know. But again, like, you got to think of it the other way around. Like, let's say if I was a white guy, who's the boss there, and I told one of my black employees, who's been doing it for a long time in security, well respected, can you go inside and get me some mints? Would I not be on the news the next day? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was so disrespectful. And I'm not gonna lie to you, like, I ended up going in there. I just stayed in there for a good 15, 20 minutes because at this point my feet were freezing. Again, it's better than dealing with the shit inside. I actually wanted some mints too. I actually went inside the bathroom there. What he means is, like, they had these, like, mint lifesavers in the bathroom. The one guy, the maitre d', handing out the paper towel, soap, and God only knows how much shit, literally shit, this guy has to put up with. So kudos to him. I mean, But yeah, I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to use this as an excuse to stall like 15, 20 minutes and go inside. So, and I was thinking to myself too, I kind of want some mints too. But at the same time, I mean, it is like really insulting to do that, right? And then another time he told me to get him a Red Bull, And again, I'm just using the same excuse. Now, I'm thinking, how can I say this? I wasn't very happy with, getting him a mint or Red Bull. You know how they say you shouldn't mistreat people who handle your food? The point is, you should never do that to somebody. Ever. I don't care who you are, where you're from. You got to treat people with respect. But here's the funny thing. When I went to go downstairs to stall more time and have my way with some items, I wanted to go to the bathroom because, you got to take a piss. You got to go. So I go into the bathroom. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you've ever been in a urinal. Also, I just realized that I said ladies. So, yeah, that's... I guess this doesn't concern you. I keep hearing that there's always couches in ladies' bathrooms. Is that true? I don't know. I don't know. I saw it on a TV show once. But anyways, so one of my biggest fears is that I'm going to go into a bathroom, go to the urinal, and, I don't know, someone's going to push me or something's gonna happen while I'm taking a piss. You know what I mean? Like that's always been a little bit of a fear of mine. I'm not gonna lie. Like we've all thought about that. You know, we're like, shit. Could this be the day where this is, another story for the podcast? Sure. So I'm taking a piss and someone taps me on the shoulder. And guys, I know it kind of goes without saying, but when someone's taking a piss at a urinal, we don't want to be bothered, unless it's, it's a big emergency. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm not the ugliest guy in the world, but I'm not Paul Rudd either. But at the same time, could this be, could this be it? And then, I look and, the one guy says, hey man, there's a guy passed out in the stall. And I go, what? He's like, yeah, he's passed out and, the door's locked and, he's just like all we see is like his feet and I don't know, like who knows what's going on. I'm like, okay, I'll check on it. But again, I'm in midstream, I don't know, guys, if you've ever held in your piss, it fucking hurts. I've done it for like maybe, maybe like 1-2 seconds. Like that's it. You know what I mean? Like you can't go more than that. If you go more than that, forget it. Like you'll never get a hard on again. And I just assume I hear things. And I'm like, okay, I finished my piss, whatever. I didn't wash my hands. I washed my hands after. Don't worry, relax. I know a lot of dickheads are worried about that, but which is good. And I guess have a clean hands when you're lifting somebody off a dirty floor. But anyways, so yeah, the stall's locked. I mean, I'm knocking on it, and I'm like, "Sir, you okay?" Or he's it's not moving. His feet, they're not moving. So I'm thinking to myself, "Fuck, man! Like this guy just OD. Is this guy? I mean, how long has this guy been in there? I mean, I don't know. Obviously, the maitre d' didn't notice. I don't know. He's too busy getting mints, for my boss, I guess. I mean, he's got problems too, I guess. So, I'm luckily I go out the bathroom there and I see one of the managers. I tell him about it, and he comes in there with me, and he's just banging on the door, trying to get his attention as well. At one point, he's just trying to like, just literally ram the door in. I was gonna do that too, but I don't want to get shit for breaking the door, because I again, you're probably thinking, what were you thinking? You should have done that, whatever. Just trust me. If you work for a lot of these people that work for clubs, they try to scrape every fucking penny. Okay, so if you're the one that breaks the door because some guy passed out or whatever, maybe he's not out, then you got to hear about it. Just you don't have to trust me on this one. So he couldn't get the door open, whatever. So then at one point, he just finally got the guy's attention. He gets up, whatever. He opens the thing. This guy is fucked up. I mean, completely fucked up, man. He's got. I mean, I don't know if like the blood went in his puke or he just threw up a cherry pie. I have no idea, but he's got like puke all over his clothes. He had a huge like fucking piece of puke like in his nostril. Like he's just fucked up. Like he cannot like stand up. Like he was like, you ever see that clip on YouTube of the guy buying beer? And like it looks like something is like pulling him, like he's being pulled into like a vortex or something, or I don't know, like a big gust of wind is blowing him away. He just can't stand up, right? Like this guy's leaning on everything. Like he was fucked up, man. So again, and then in my head again, I'm like, I keep in mind, like, it's the whole coronavirus, or we're calling it COVID now, or whatever, the big C now, But yeah, it's, you're thinking, shit, like, I don't want to touch this dude. Like, and no offense, I mean, but, this guy's fucking draped in puke, man. Fuck, like, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, this guy was fucked up, man. I don't know. Maybe he had his first beer tonight or something. I don't know, but he was completely gone. He was by himself too, which I thought was weird too, because I don't know, like, I don't know if people like show up in groups and then like they just totally lose the person. Like, I mean, I don't know, or maybe it's, you know, that one person in that one group that nobody gives a shit about. Then he's like, he's fine, he's probably at home. And you know, we take him in the back there. There's like a, you know, it's kind of like a, you know, the back of the mall. You know, when they have the thing in the hallway in the back there, and you know, and again, he just passes out. But it's funny because like he just pretends we're not there, and he just like lies on the floor and like just basically curls up into a ball, you know. And he's fucked up, and I'm like, we gotta check his ID or whatever, you know. And of course, this is when he wakes up again. You know, he's like, you know, he thought I was trying to take his puke wallet, whatever. I just want to know where the fuck this guy was, or where's he from. Call him a cab, whatever, right? He's getting the fuck out of there, and you know. The manager's pissed. I don't know, this guy got in here, you know, and of course he's trying to play it off like it's not his fault. And God, what a mess. But yeah, so then me and one of the other guards, we take him outside. We had to go up a parking lot, it's like 2 levels there. You know, not the stairs. You know, the actual where the cars drive because it's quicker, whatever. Made sure he was outside, and once again, he was just like, you know, whatever. He just curled up into a ball in the street, and that's it. Eventually, the ambulance came, and yeah, what a fucking mess, man. I've never been that fucked up. I mean, I've puked a couple times after drinking, you know, but that's a lot of booze, man. But, you know, but still to like not know where you are. Like, he didn't say a word the whole time. Like, you know, he was gone, like glass-eyed, you know what I mean? So I don't know, maybe he had something else, I don't know, like, but yeah, it was just, you know, like, you gotta be fucked up to just fall asleep downtown on the street, curled up into a ball, and just not give a fuck, you know? And this is the shit that a lot of us have to put up with, and a lot of people just don't see that, you know? Now, would have had this problem if I didn't have to worry about my boss having a Red Bull? Probably not, you know. But yeah, it's fucking crazy, man. I mean, but then you know, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, this guy was, you know, I mean, he talked down to me and other people, and yeah, he really didn't, you know, like even his one partner that I found out later on was the guy that hired me, and he was in charge of payroll, which is a whole fucking another shit show, and you know, like he was even rude to him and talked down to him. I don't know, like clearly this guy was really, I guess he grew up just always having his way and shit, entitlement. It's just weird, man. I don't know, like, I don't know. And the sad thing is, like, nobody really knows how to, you know, deal with these people. I mean, I guess you could tell them off, but they're still gonna argue, and you know, he's the one in charge, and so, you know, that power is not going to help either, and it's just very sad, man. I don't know, he's a very sad man. But yeah, and then at one point I felt bad for his partner there, because he was getting yelled at by him too, and for not doing his job right, and you know, like people not showing up and not hiring enough people, and you know, I don't know, it's crazy. It really is. I mean, you know, I don't understand people sometimes. I really don't get it, you know. I've always had the mentality, you treat someone like the way you want to be treated. And if they don't, then you can tell them to fuck off, you know. And then you can sit down, you know, have a mint, have a Red Bull, and just, you know, relax. That's all. So, you know, the irony is too, actually, now I think about it, is like, you know, I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe he didn't brush his teeth a lot. I don't know, because he worked a lot. I mean, that's why he needed the mint. But like, the Red Bull didn't help at all, you know, because he even said, like, I even told him like what happened, and like he didn't seem concerned or anything, you know. He was just like, you know, like whatever, and I don't know, he didn't care about that guy either, and I don't know, a lot of people inside didn't, and yeah, it's very sad, man. I don't know, it's very sad how you know, people treat their customers, but yeah, you know, like like him having, I mean, Red Bull's supposed to give you energy, right? Or it's supposed to give you wings or something. And yeah, he just seemed more asleep after. I don't know. You know, I don't know. Did he put vodka in there? What the fuck? But yeah, I don't know. So it's very frustrating dealing with people like that, you know. And what's even more frustrating is when you don't get paid. You know, the first week was fine, and then the second week is delayed more days, and it's, you know, delayed every other time, and it's just very sad. Very, very sad, you know, and then it makes you wonder, like, what the fuck is the point of going to a club? Like, I don't get it. I've never really been a club guy. I've been to a couple clubs here and there, but I just don't get it, guys. I don't know. Like, I assume all these people must live at home, like, you know, and they just want some kind of escape, I guess. But guys, man, I mean, you know, like, move out of your parents' house and get a life, man. Seriously, like, it's just sad. Like, I'm not saying it's like it's for everybody, but you know, it's crazy. What's also a really crazy moment is, and this is where, you know, I really feel old. You know, I'm 39 years old. I'll be 40 in April. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't really feel it. I've never been 39 before this, so I don't know what it's supposed to feel like. But I'm still good, man, you know. As long as you're still, you know, you got the heartbeat and you can get a heart on, you're fine with me, man, you know. You know, give me some good pizza and I'll shut the fuck up. But, yeah, you know, this one guy came by, wanted to get into the club, and he didn't want to wait in line and thing, you know, because, you know, yeah, that never fucking happens, right? And that's another thing too. Like, the guy that was managing the line, I mean, he was just like extremely neurotic. Now, apparently, he was part of in house. He's the only one hired in house, like through the club, and he's always outside in charge of the thing, whatever. Again, he never knew how to talk to people. He'd always tell people just move and, you know, thank you, nothing. You know, I thought it was really weird too because, like, he looked a lot like Mos Def, but for some reason he sounded like Talib Kweli. You know, so I don't know. It always tripped me out, and I don't know. Are we ever gonna get a Black Star album again? I don't know, but. Yeah, so the one guy shows up, and, you know, he goes in this whole thing. Like, he's like, hi, I'm a YouTuber. You can check out my website. I have 8 million follower. Like, he's going into a whole thing, you know. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I mean, this is one of the first times I've seen this, you know. Some guy just going into a whole spiel. I mean, usually you just get some, you know, dickhead like, oh, yeah, you know Marv? Yeah, he was supposed to come, you know, meet me in 20 minutes. And, oh yeah, there's a party downstairs, and, you know, I'm on the guest list, and for some reason I decided to show up at 2:50. You know, like, that's another thing we don't like, guys. I mean, if you go to a club and you're part of some shit or a group, whatever, you know, I get it. Like, maybe you finish work or something, but what the fuck is the point of coming to a club at 2:50 when we're gonna close at 3? I mean, what are you trying to prove, man? Like, I mean, like, really, like, we get it. You're lonely. We get it, okay? But, you know, like, most clubs, I'll be honest with you, most ones I work at, we close the doors anywhere between 1:30 and 2, okay? Because you only fit in so many people. This one, forget it. I mean, they gave me a clicker. That's another thing, too. I mean, this club was always overcapacitated, for sure. I mean, always. You know, like, every shift there was cops out there. They say stop letting people in because, you know, they know that the owners are probably crooked and letting people in and shit, and that's it. You know, like, it's just, again, it's all about money. I mean, I don't know, maybe they'll get a fine or something, but that's it. But you know, it's gonna get to a point where it'll get shut down. But which really sucks for me because, you know, I've worked jobs downtown where it's in the summer, and they say, oh, sorry, we're not working for the next 2 weeks because of construction. Really? You run a club in Toronto in August and you're going to have construction now? Really? Here's what really happened. You let too many fucking people in. You let too many people smoke weed and smoke cigarettes or smoke whatever inside, and you can only pay off those couple $1,000 fines so much where eventually they'll just shut you down. That's what happens. So if you ever hear of a club or bar construction in the summertime, it's bullshit. Okay, it's like going to McDonald's and they tell you that the milkshake machine is broken. No, it's being cleaned and it takes fucking 3-4 hours. Okay, there you go. So yeah, and then anyways, they let the guy in, you know, and he's just, you know, like I didn't have a problem with it, to be honest. I'm just saying the story because it's just a whole new world. You know what I mean? Like, even the one manager was like, oh, make sure you mention us on Snapchat or Facebook or whatever the fuck you jerk off to. And, you know, it's just a new world, man. Like, it really is. Like, you know, give him props, man. You didn't have to wait in line or nothing, you know. It was up to me. I just fucking, I don't know. If you seem like a cool person, you check out, it's all good. But, of course, you got to line up. You know, I'm not stupid. Obviously, you got to do that, you know. But, again, owners know people. They got promoters there. They're trying to let in people as well. People they know, high-end clients. There was one guy there. I mean, he had like, this is no bullshit. Like, next time you're on Google, which is going to be in, I'm assuming, 5 minutes, Google Lenny Kravitz scarf. And you're going to see him with a big ass scarf. And this guy always had huge scarf. I don't know if this is like a trend or something, but whatever. It just looked fucking stupid. But, yeah, and again, their job is just to let people in. They're all good, whatever. And I don't know. I can never pull off a scarf like that. I really just wear a coat. But hey, man, what are you gonna do? Doesn't take much to please me. I'm an Aries. But yeah, it was just not really well organized, And you learn a lot of clubs in Toronto. They're just trying to squeeze in as much as they can and just get paid. And obviously, I mean, this goes without saying, but if you ever go to a club, bar, whatever, there's a huge lineup. Let's say 10:30, 11, 11:30. Either one of two things is happening. Either they're doing this on purpose to make it look like that the club is bigger than it really is, to go, oh my God, wow, that's crazy. Look at the lineup here. It must be good. Or the cops are inside, which pretty much happened every night that I was there, and they're searching. Now, it could be undercover a lot of times. These guys, they probably knew what the fuck was going on with this club. I'm sure the shit happened before, probably with the previous owner. But again, it's not my world. I don't give a fuck. I just want to make sure I get paid, which took more than expected, but I'm going to get to that in a little bit. But all I'm saying is just be careful, Because again, you don't know how many people are going to be in there. It's not my problem. You never know who's going to show up. Which leads me to my last story. So, I'm chilling there, As you guys know, I'm from Toronto. Beautiful city. And we also got the Toronto Raptors. That won the championship a few years ago. And we drafted a certain player this year who has a lot of potential. I'm talking about Mr. Scottie Barnes. And he showed up. And he must have showed up just right after the game, showered, got dressed, whatever. Want to enjoy the Toronto nightlife. Why not? Can't blame him. Young kid wants to go out. What was great was he shows up at the door and he didn't even say anything, which I thought was pretty cool. He just, he kind of like grinned, like, and he had his like, he kind of just like put his arms out, like, like, what's up, it's me, you know what I mean? Like, you know who he is. You're not gonna miss him, Shows up, let him in, boom, that's it. Pays to be famous for sure. You don't have to wait in line, which is very nice. One of the many perks. So I just thought it was funny that he didn't even say anything. He literally didn't say anything just to go in. So I don't know. He seems like a good dude. And about an hour and a half later, two other people show up. And, one guy is short, very loud, won't shut the fuck up. And, I'm like, dude, just like relax. I can't understand what you're saying. You're talking way too loud, And that's another thing, like on top of like wearing, the vaccination, making sure everyone's good, the mask, like I can't hear fucking anything. People are, and again, it's not his fault. It's not my fault. It's nobody's fault, It's whatever happened to, whoever gave the coronavirus to someone. Maybe it's with a bat. I don't know. But, so like, the communication between people is just going to be fucked up anyway. And keep in mind, when you go in there, like, you don't have to wear a mask, which, I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, it's hot in there, you got to drink and take off the mask on them. I guess no one's going to fucking bother, I guess, whatever. And then he's with a really tall guy. Not that tall, but not, like tall enough. You know what I mean? Very skinny guy. Very, very skinny. We're talking like Kevin Garnett skinny, He's totally covered up. Like he's got like a hat on, like kind of a mask thing. I can't I can't see his face. I cannot see his face. So the one guy's like, oh, the Raptors, the place for the Raptors. I'm like, dude, slow down, okay, And then he's like, oh, he plays for the Raptors, And then I would have made this really simple, okay? I asked the tall guy, I go, do you actually play for the Raptors? There's a pause, and he goes, nah. I go, okay. Okay. So I just, people make things so difficult sometimes, and I get it. You do something after work or whatever. You just want to not worry about, we're not all dickheads. Security. Let me tell you something, okay? Like we're just there. Like the amount of bullshit we got to put up with. Like the last story I told you with the Malaka in the bathroom there. And we're just trying to understand what you're saying and what you guys want. But if you don't help us, if you don't say what's going on or who you are, then we can't help you. So then, afterwards, I don't know, the one guy comes up, verifies who he is, lets him in, whatever, da-da-da-da-dee. And, I still have no idea who that was, whatever. And the guy's just, he seemed a little annoyed. I, again, can't blame him. At the same time, I was annoyed too. So I don't know. We're both fucking screwed. What are you going to do? So he goes in there. Everything's good. Chilling out for a bit. My boss comes upstairs. And, he says, do you know who that guy was? I go, no, he wouldn't tell me. I mean, who was it? Delano Banton is a Canadian basketball player for the Toronto Raptors of the National Basketball Association. Now let me tell you something about this guy, okay? He's from Rexdale, okay? Toronto's own. If I knew that, I would have just said, come on in. All he had to do was say who he was, or even yes to the answer of, yes, I play for the Raptors. I'm a huge Raptor fan. I used to be a big Leaf fan. Obviously, you can tell from the podcast. I still have not watched the game, by the way, this season. Okay, 2021, 2022. See, I've still not watched the game. I'm not watching until they make the playoffs. But to have this guy show up, I thought was pretty cool. But again, I had no idea who this guy was. Totally covered. He has a very distinct look with the braids. If I saw those, the way he looks, I would have let him in, no problem. But again, this is where being the dick security guard fucks you in the ass sometimes. And this is where you look like a prick. So, just want to say this. If Delano Banton ever hears this, I want to apologize. But next time, if I'm there and you're there, and I know it's you, come on in. Plain and simple. Not at that place, because, I'm going to get to that in a bit. But, yeah. That's it. But that doesn't happen every day. Some basketball players show up to where you work. I think that's pretty cool. But again, we still have to follow protocol, which sucks, man. Makes us look like dicks. Would it be nice if someone said, hey, Barnes is here. He's going to invite some Raptor players. It's a good way to show off the club and like how cool it is, right? Isn't it a good idea to tell the people outside that are checking IDs, checking guest lists, hey, this person's going to come? There's no fucking organization anymore. Nothing. And it makes the whole club look like shit. It does. It makes us all look bad. I mean, it's just fucking stupid. So, salute to him. Salute to Barnes. Hope these guys have a great rookie year, It's really cool. Honestly, like I said this before, he's from Toronto. It's really cool that this guy, the odds of playing somewhere, You grow up somewhere, you play somewhere, and then you end up playing for that team. Like, the fucking odds of that, I'm assuming, obviously, the Raptors have scouted him and Barnes for a while, but, I mean, still, like, that's a huge honor, man. Like, it really is. So, good luck to both those guys, man, Now for the pay. They kept delaying the pay over and over and over again. And you know what? It got to a point where, I've dealt with a lot of bullshit in a very short amount of time. We're talking like a month here, like all this shit happened. You know what I mean? And I just, and what really scared me was the last night, or the second last night I worked there. I'm working with like a few people, and they come up to me, the people that are checking the doors, which, by the way, a lot of people consider that a joke or whatever. You got the radar gun, the same thing they use at the airports, whatever. You have to, man. Don't make a joke out of it. Like, seriously, like I get it. Everyone just wants to have a fun time, but like, they work really hard. So treat them with a lot of respect, because if you don't get past them, you're not coming in. Okay. So this club did take at least that seriously, and they didn't even allow lighters. We even if you had a little disposable lighter or whatever, you had to throw it in a container, and I don't know, you can collect it afterwards, I guess. I'm not gonna lie to you. I mean, a lot of people did not collect their lighters. Probably within a month, I've collected enough lighters. I will never need a lighter again. That's the greatest thing about working at a bar or club. And if you do smoke, you will absolutely never have to pay for a lighter. Yeah. So treat them with respect, because they go through a lot of shit too. And they asked me, they said, like, do you know how we get paid? And at first I'm like, fuck, like, didn't they tell you? Didn't they? Yeah. I'm like, I'm not mad at them. I'm like, I'm just, but this is how disorganized it is. Like, they didn't even tell these guys, like, when are they getting paid, how they're getting paid. It's just bad. And then, whatever, the week was done, whatever. And I'm wondering what the hell's going on here, because I worked another job for them, which was great. I mean, any excuse not to work there was fucking awesome. Also keep in mind, I worked with another guy there who showed up a half hour late, never wanted to work outside in the cold. I mean, this guy was just talk. Oh, fucking shit. Jesus Christ. He just kept talking about his future vacation, Nice guy, but I just didn't give a fuck, And then at one point he disappears for 20 minutes. He's, talking to the white girl downstairs. I'm like, dude, you got to tell me where you go. You know what I mean? Like, if I need you up here, like, fuck. But anyways, so yeah, so even I'm wondering, I'm like, when the fuck am I going to get paid? Like, I don't even know when I'm going to, get my money. So again, they delayed it, and we'll get Saturday. Oh no, we'll get Sunday. Oh no, I promise you sometime before Wednesday. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So, and then I have the one pay coming in. For some reason, like, with the same company, just because it's two different places, I'm getting paid from two different people, which I found very weird, considering it was the same boss, and like he said, he's the one that got the contract, and it's just so disorganized, man. I'm getting a little bit here, a little bit there. It's like putting together a puzzle, And then I finally just said, fuck it, I'm gonna, like, I don't know what's going on here, like, when am I gonna get my money? And then this one random woman calls me, and again, I've never spoken to her. I don't know who she is. I end up in a huge argument with her. She's telling me, yeah, I'm Italian, and because believe me, I've never heard that before. And like, I'm dealing with my 10-year-old son right now, and I'm yelling in front of him. I'm like, why are you telling me this? I don't give a fuck. Where's my money? You know what I mean? And I've never been spoken to like this. I'm like, first of all, you just proved right there you're not Italian. Okay, listen, I'm gonna tell this to everybody out there. If you're in your mid-30s, male or female, and if you're Italian, and if you've never been called out on your own shit, you are not Italian. Plain and simple, okay? I don't give a fuck how many vowels you have in your last name. You are not Italian. So I'm telling her, I'm like, look, I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't give a shit about your kid or your problems, whatever. When am I gonna get my money? And she just keeps yelling, and she threatened me, and she said, I'm going to get the boss after you. I'm like, holy fuck, like, what the hell's going on here? So I'm like, okay, well, can he get, and at this point, I didn't even care about being threatened. I'm like, can he get me my money? Because I don't even have his number. I can't even get him on the phone. I will see what he has to say about this. I'm like, well, I sure hope so. Finally, somebody cares. You know, Opa. And Jesus Christ. So then I have the one guy who hired me, who again didn't interview me. He calls me 5 minutes later and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" And I'm like, "I don't know. What's going on with you?" And just chilling, watching some TV here, enjoying some beautiful ice water. And, he's like, "Oh, I was told you called the thing, the secretary or whatever." Which, by the way, like, I thought she was married to the one guy. That's what I heard, and I thought they were. I don't know. Again, it's like fucking high school. Jesus Christ. Actually, no, high school you could skip, but yeah. Anyways, so again, like he's trying to trap me. He's like, "Well, I heard you were being rude to her and and calling her." I'm like, "No, she called me. I wanted my money." And she's like, "Well, that's not what I heard." And I'm like, "I don't give a fuck," and all this bullshit back and forth. I'm like, I'm like, dude, I'm not stupid. You're trying to trap me, but I'm not trying to trap you. I just want to know what really happened. I just told you what happened. And there's a pause, and he goes, "Well, I don't think that's what really happened." I'm like, "I don't really give a fuck," and oh Christ! And then I finally get the one the guy from the Weeds number there, and I finally give him a call, and I told him off. I'm like, "I don't appreciate the way you treat me. You're doing this, that," and then like he goes in this whole rant. And keep in mind, like he didn't stop. Like he talked for 30 seconds straight. We were both talking over each other. Clearly this guy has definitely had some anger issues, or because as soon as I called him out on everything, like that's when he changed he actually, because before he would talk like this, he would just be very chill and very relaxed and just very calm. And then when you start talking, he's like, micro machines, each sold separately. Like, I'm like, finally, I get a response, but I mean, he won't shut the fuck up and let me find out what's going on with my money here. So, yeah. So, basically, after all this, I'm not gonna lie to you. I filled up his voicemail, filled up the other guy's voicemail, and I filled up her voicemail. I just told her, when am I gonna get my money? What's going on here? I'm not gonna let this go. So finally, after all that, they just basically send me the money right away. So that tells you something there, man. I mean, they say they had to wait to get the money, but as soon as I called them out on their shit, and you know, you realized they had the money the whole time. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it's a weird business, man. I don't know. I mean, a lot of these guys, I don't know, they'll just hold the money forever. And I just feel sorry for all the other workers that work there. I mean, even the club next to us, it had a weird French name. I don't know. Fuck, who cares? But every 5 minutes, they would confuse people would confuse us with them, and there was another angry older guy there. I mean, every time a simple you'd walk out the door, but you can't walk out their side, or else it's like stepping in acid or something. I don't know. I mean, again, wrong temperament. You know what I mean? Like just. I don't know. Some people are just not happy with their stepfathers. So, it is what it is. But I mean, you never withhold money from people, especially when you have it, So, again, I just feel really sorry for everyone else that works there. So, if anybody else gets this message, I mean, they do have your money. They're just holding it for some reason. So, that's pretty sad, man. I mean, that's pretty cold. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, to fuck with someone's money, especially during these times and COVID and. Damn, that's bad, man. So, yeah, what have I learned? Well, not much. I'm not gonna lie. Well, I never will have a Banton's metabolism. That's for damn sure. I eat a cracker, I gain 20 pounds. But yeah, just watch out who you work for, I guess, and yeah, make sure you get paid. And make sure you happen to know all this information before you start the job, Hopefully. I mean, the one boss is telling us his kids plays hockey or whatever, and You know, yeah, I tell him I have to work hard and shit. And I don't know, he's talking to us like we're 10 years old. Like, when the fuck are we getting our money? I mean, you know, like, what? Jesus Christ. Uh, what are you going to do? There's Malakas everywhere. I even had to sell them some of my old clickers, 2 of them for $10 because they didn't have enough. Ugh, jeez. This is how disorganized this place was. I even tested that theory. I wanted to see how disorganized it was. Like, if they even kept track of me even being there, or like even me at the front door there. Like, I mean, for the most part, I guess most people would stay till 3:34, and then it would get to a point where it was around 3, and a lot of nights I would just pretend to go out for a smoke, and I did, but I would turn the corner and I would just bounce. I would just literally just leave, and I told them I left at like 3:30. So I mean, there are many times I got paid an extra half hour for literally nothing. Even when they paid me my last couple deposits there, like, I already paid the one, or the one guy already paid me for the clickers, and then when the one guy, you know, he tried to cheat me out of $20, and then they gave me, like, I think an extra like 30 or $40, and he even said, like, this is for the clickers. I'm like, I'm like, dude, the guy already paid me for, and I was like, you know what, whatever, an extra 30, $40, it's all good. So, but this is how disorganized these guys were. I mean, they didn't even notice I left, like, the front door, you know, the extra pay. What can I tell you guys? Enjoy the mints and gum. But anyways, I just wanted to share that. And yeah, this has been another thrilling episode of the worst job I've ever had. Part 5.